Today on the LA Food Podcast, a happy new year to you, dear listener. But what does the year of our Lord 2025 have in store for LA restaurants? Well, according to the LA Times, a whole lot more struggle. Father Sal is with us to break down a couple of fascinating pieces by Stephanie Breijo and Cindy Carcamo on the restaurants we lost in 2024 and what the landscape of challenges looks like for the year ahead. On a lighter note, we recap our holidays, including Father Sal's first ever American Christmas and my continuing plight to force feed my family the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Finally, if you've got any travel upcoming to Mexico City, you're in luck because Sal also gives us a rundown of the must-visit spots from his most recent escapade to the Mexican capital. In part 2, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, the 2025 countdown reveal. In case you're unfamiliar, every year I set out to eat 100 variations of a certain type of LA cuisine. In 2021, I ate 100 pizzas. In 2022, I visited 100 taquerias. 2023 brought me sandwiches, and I just finished scouring the city for 100 epic noodle dishes in 2024. What will 2025 hold for yours truly and yours truly's rapidly deteriorating gastrointestinal system? Stick around to find out. As always, consider leaving us a review or rating wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm your host, Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, let's chow down. The LA Food Podcast is presented by The Lonely Oyster. Unwind at The Lonely Oyster's Echo Park Night Watch. Did you know that every night is industry night at The Lonely Oyster, dear listener? Stroll in after 10 p.m. nightly for a one-of-a-kind experience designed for the night owls and hospitality pros. Indulge in $12 handshake cocktails, expertly crafted liquid chef concoctions, delicious late-night hot bites, and chef's choice dozen oysters. More than just a place to unwind, The Lonely Oyster warmly welcomes industry professionals, providing a space where like-minded individuals can connect, relax, and enjoy the camaraderie that comes with the late-night scene. Whether you're looking to kick back after a long shift or simply enjoy the vibrant atmosphere, late night at The Lonely Oyster is the perfect rendezvous for those who appreciate good company and great food and drinks. Don't miss this nightly affair and let the good times roll at The Lonely Oyster. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, a man who this week is 1 year closer to being eligible for the 15% AARP discount at Denny's. It's Father Sal. Father Sal, how you doing, birthday boy?
I'm doing well, man. Wait, because this is coming out on my birthday. I was like, you're premature, but yeah, that's right.
Yes, I had shot my load prematurely. Alas, no, because by the time the listeners are listening to this, you will very much be geriatric. Is that correct?
I mean, won't I be literally your age? How old are you again? Are you? You're 1 year older than me, so we're going to be the same age for a month as we always are.
Correct. Yeah. I don't think we need to dox our age to the listener so we can just always exist in this perfect like age in their mind. I just assume they all think we're like, I don't know, what, 25?
I was waiting to see what you said would be the perfect age. I was like, let's not go too low here, buddy. Let's not sound weird. Okay.
Well, that was a great start to the pod. Look, Father Sal, it's obviously been the holidays. You've been away for a couple weeks. We got a lot to catch up on, actually. But you did text me on Christmas that you just celebrated your first American Christmas, which seems like a big deal. How would you rate it on a scale from 1 to Martha Stewart?
Well, I don't know. I would say it wasn't Martha Stewart because, as we learned from the documentary, she's very perfectionist and anal. It was a very chill Christmas. It was a good time. It hit all the highlights that I believe exist, right? We decorated the tree. We made gingerbread houses.
Wow.
Me and Emily made a gingerbread house that was, I'd forgotten about this, that like, it was a social commentary on Christmas. The gingerbread house, like one end was like happy, it was like a, rainbow flag, corporations virtue signaling to, bring customers in. On the other side, workplace abuses. We had a prison. we had like an X market. It was a lot of fun. So we made a gingerbread house, decorated the tree. We did presents. A lot of food-related presents for your boy.
No way.
Yeah, Emily's parents came through. So I had a blast during my first white Christmas.
First literal white Christmas. Although you were here, right? So there was no snow to speak of.
I was in Massachusetts. There was snow.
Oh, so shit. Was there literally snow on the ground?
There was literally snow on the ground, man. Yeah.
White Christmas in more ways than one. What were these food-related gifts you speak of?
I got 2 different cookbooks. I got and a bunch of custom. I don't not custom spices, but like high end spices, as well as a spice rack. It was really sweet. It was an Ottolenghi cookbook.
Oh, nice.
As well as a Milk Street one. Do you know Milk Street? Have you heard of that before?
I'm not. What is that?
It's. I mean, I learned about it as like a website that had recipes, and I've actually got what he's known for. Or what the guy does is like some relatively simple recipes for cooking at home. So I have one of his cookbook called Simple, and then I think they got me one called Tuesday Nights, which is like a pretty similar idea, like Tuesday night dinner. What takes 30 minutes, 45, an hour, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, cookbooks for your boy. I was thrilled. It was a good time.
Yeah. I came across a cookbook in downtown Palm Springs yesterday that I thought you'd really like. It has nothing to do with downtown Palm Springs. I'm sure it's available everywhere, but it's called like the New York Times No Recipe Cookbook by, I forget who wrote it, but are you familiar with this?
Dude, we literally talked about it on the podcast. You don't remember?
Oh, did we? Damn.
Yeah. We
My
talked about
recall
it.
is not good.
It was literally, very briefly, it was during a conversation, I think, about like Ina Garten, right? Ina Garten, and like the different ways that we've learned to cook, whether it was Top Chef or YouTube. And I mentioned that I literally bought that cookbook like last year. It was like the little red one, right?
Yes.
Little red cookbook. Yeah. Yep, I got that one. So good call, buddy. You know me well.
Yeah, I was like, this has Saul written all over it. No quantities, no proper directions. It's just vibes, really. It's just vibes.
Yeah, I love it. I actually have not, because I bought it and then we pretty much immediately moved. Because I think I bought it in August. And so we didn't immediately move, but we moved pretty shortly after. So I have not cracked it open, but I want to, because you're exactly right. The whole idea is like set yourself free from exact like quantities and measurements and step by step. Vibe it out. Actually, we should encourage Emily to use this cookbook. She's very committed to like exact like 3/4 teaspoon of cayenne, and I'm like, just throw some cayenne in there. It's fine. It'll be good.
I used to be the same way. I think I'm a little bit more intuitive now. However, I've still got a long ways to go. My father-in-law got me a really thoughtful book. It was a book by a gentleman by the name of A.A. Gill. It's called something like Table Talk or something. He is a reviewer for one of the London papers. So he talks about what it's like to review restaurants in London. Really excited to dive into it because apparently it's like considered one of the best books about like food reviewing and like restaurant criticism. And I just want to see like what differences there are between like what we perceive in America as restaurant criticism and the way they do it over there. The only exposure I have to this is actually Top Chef when they did the All-Star season.
Yep.
And do you remember during Restaurant Wars, they invited that food critic from like the Telegraph or something? And he was like not pulling any punches.
I thought he did pull a lot of punches, actually. My impression was that he was...
Really?
Yeah. Maybe we need to rewatch the episode. I do remember that. I kind of wish they would do that for every Restaurant Wars. It was a great way to add a different voice in. Because what they did was, they did the Restaurant Wars, the two different teams competed, but they anonymously had secretly had a critic from the city come in and review both restaurants, right?
Yeah, right. That's right.
He was like steady. He was like totally fine. I thought he was like maybe a little nice, a little nicer than he could have been, especially for the non-Buddha restaurant, which was a real fail, I thought. And it reminds me also that that same critic actually wrote the review for the winning restaurant or the winning chef on 5-Star Chef.
Yeah.
He actually, I read his review of that restaurant when it came out, and it was also generally positive. So yeah.
Do they get really frilly and floral with their writing?
No. I think it does read a little classier than most of our. I don't know why. That could just be like projection of like Europe and the British, right? But I don't remember being particularly.
You just see like an OU in the word fabulous or glamorous, and you're like, damn, this is classy.
This is classy, baby. That's pretty fucking classy. So no, I don't remember standing out in any particular way beyond like what you'd read from any LA Times restaurant critic or an eater one, but. That's a good book to dive into.
Yeah, I'm excited. 2025 LA Food Pod Book Club? ?
Oh, I would do it. By the way, because you're reminding me, this wasn't a Christmas gift, but I got myself Unreasonable Hospitality. Had you read that?
Oh, I'm reading it too, by Will Guidara.
Yeah, the book club has begun, baby. Look at us.
The book club has begun, whether we like it or not. This is the one of the owners of 11 Madison Park wrote this book, Unreasonable Hospitality, that actually Richie is reading in The Bear, right?
Oh, maybe,
do you remember this scene?
Maybe that's where I saw it. So I was like, I thought you'd maybe read it before or had bought it, and I was like, I recognize this book. Got it for myself. I'm excited. It looks like taking those lessons and philosophies from 11 Madison Park about going all out, but also applying it to like broader life stuff.
Yeah. I understand why he has to do that, like apply it to other fields of business, like restaurants, like lessons that any field of business can learn from the restaurant industry.
Right.
But I kind of wish he had just stuck like to the really nitty gritty as opposed to trying to like universalize all these lessons, you know?
I mean, that's what makes it self-help. You get in the self-help section, then you're selling books. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Look, speaking of self-help, self-improvement, broadening your horizons, last time we spoke, you were on your way to Mexico City. How was the trip, bro?
It was fucking awesome. Last time we spoke, I was in Mexico City, and
That's true.
Yeah, I was there. You're reminding me now. I have to respond to some guff I got from our friends at Carcamo, the chef. I literally just remembered that. Do you remember they sent an email being like, "Haha, we found Saul's background on Google whatever meats or whatever." So I have to go respond to them. I also had to send Nancy my CDMX recommendations. I think she's visiting soon as well. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
The trip was amazing. I'll say this. Great trip. Had an awesome time. This was for my mother's 60th birthday. I went with her. We had 9 people total, mostly.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it was like my sister, Emily came down, of course, but also then older, like my aunt and uncle, my mom's friends. It was an older crew. My grandma was there. I will say this. Went off pretty well overall. I was very happy with it. I immediately wanted to go back to Mexico City because there's so much I couldn't really do that I wanted to do there.
Yeah.
And also, it was the first time I'd been with like people who aren't, freaks about eating like we are. And so I took them to Quintonil for like, a 12 or 13 course tasting menu. Six courses in, they're like, oh, so full, can't have another bite. And I'm like, can't have another bite. This is the best shit you're ever going to eat in your life. Suck it up. eat this food.
That's exactly, you're foreshadowing my Feast of the Seven Fishes story, which is like,
No way.
You've really got to course things out when it comes to non-eaters. But anyways, resume.
No, but I mean, I mainly hit highlights, places that we've been to before. We went to the Anthropology Museum, to Mayo, took them around Roma Norte. I actually realized also my big takeaway from the trip, I took my parents to Polanco. For those who don't know, it's kind of like the most westernized neighborhood in Mexico City. It's kind of the, reputably the safest and like most comfortable. And I was like, well, for these guys, I'll take them to Polanco. It'll be the best.
Yeah, they call it the Beverly Hills of Mexico City.
That's right. And it's like, whatever. For them, as they're transitioning, they hadn't visited before. I'll take them there. We went to Roma Norte on like the 4th day we were there. And I was like, I should never not stay in Roma Norte. I love that neighborhood so much. They loved it so much. And I've learned now every single time I go back, that's definitely where I'm
Polanco is dope, though. It's just kind of out of the way, I think, is the one issue, right? It's not like so close to all the other action, which is a little bit more condensed.
Yeah.
We actually stayed in Condesa when we went for a month, and I did not have the same feeling going to Roma Norte. I was like, I think I'm more of a Condesa boy.
You know what's funny? I think we went to Roma Norte during that same trip, and maybe, I don't know, if it was like COVID got weird or something, like I had the same vibe. Part of the reason I went to Polanco and not even Condesa or Roma Norte, because I was like, you know what, like it was a little, I remember being a little bit like less vibrant and like kind of just like a bit more like rough or not. I don't know why. I was like, it'll be hard to like walk my mom around here. Going back, I was like, no, this is like, we should have been here the whole time.
Huh.
It really is the spot. So I'll be there. You can be in Condesa. We'll hang out.
Well, it's like a 5-minute walk. Look, what was your highlight meal of the trip?
So we went back to Quintonil, as I said, went to Puyol, which I enjoyed more than it sounds like you and your wife did last time you went. But I will say that meal was like 3 hours, 15 minutes.
Jeez.
And it was like 7 courses. And I was like, this is too long. Like everyone was like falling asleep.
7 courses in 3 hours. That's like really slow.
It was really slow. Like my sister and I were talking about it. It was like really weirdly slow.
Was it like was the pacing, did it feel weird? Like you were getting food every 45 minutes or something?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Like you got to that, like when we went to Quintonil, my sister pointed this out. Quintonil was like 2 hours 45 with 12 courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you never got to the point where it was like, where's our next course? It was perfectly timed to like right when you'd be having like, oh, I wonder what's like coming next. They would bring it out, right? Puyol, it was like, I wonder what's coming next, and then it'd be like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
it was too long. So I did like the food. I consistently did enjoy that. But yeah, I think Quintonil firmly above it now. However, to answer your question, Auna, A-U-N-A, was a new restaurant I went to in Polanco. It was, I think, opened by the chef of Quintonil and one of his former like sous chefs or chef de cuisine of Quintonil. Like it was kind of like his project. I think my favorite meal of the whole trip. One, it was me, Emily, and Isa only, so I wasn't like, Grandma, don't worry, you can eat bugs, it's fine. It was like it was a more chill crowd, and it was a surprise of the trip to me, right? Because we'd not been there before,
Yeah.
and it was, I mean, the best octopus dish I'd ever had. All the food, we went all out. Like we were hungry that day, we hadn't eaten all day, and we just like ordered the menu. Fucking awesome. I think literally it will be the next Michelin star in Mexico City. They need to tweak up maybe the service a little bit, like the hospitality. Like it was very good, but you can see the gap between like a Puyol and a Quintonil and Auna, right? Like just like a bit of a thing there. So if they step it up a little bit, but the food is there, the experience is there. I mean, I texted you right away. The number one spot you got to visit.
You did.
Restaurant Auna. They also have a cafe separately. They're not going to visit that, but the restaurant must visit.
Is it just like modern Mexican bistro vibes? Like, what is the food? Is it lean seafood?
No, I think modern Mexican bistro is fine. And a bit of like that more, like they have like a huitlacoche dumplings for example, right? Maybe a little bit of like pulling those different ideas in together, like an Asian dumpling with a traditional indigenous Mexican ingredient, like kind of those things. It's not like you've never seen it in Mexico City before. Like you've seen it,
yeah,
but it's just very good.
Yeah. That sounds really good. What about a meal you can skip next time?
I mean, Puyol, I think I would skip. I was more positive on it than you and your wife were, it sounds like. But I was like, I've been 3 times now. I've done both the taco omakase and the fine dining bit. I get it.
Yeah.
Don't need to go back. Don't need to be spending 3.5 hours having dinner, right? So
yeah,
I think that's the one I can skip.
And what about one meal you didn't get to, but that you really want to get to next time when we go, which will hopefully be very soon?
Hopefully very soon. I mean, there's like endless answers to this. One that was on my list that didn't work out for us because it's too small. There's an 8-seater omakase, I think, called Kill Bill. That's supposed to be really good. I just think a really cool name too, and apparently it's like a tough place to get in. So I mean, sushi is sushi kind of everywhere, so maybe it's not the most unique. But I was like, kind of like my interest was piqued by that. And then, dude, I've never been to Maximo Bistro, and we walked by it, and I was like, I gotta go here, man. At some point, I gotta go.
Didn't we go together?
No, we went to Rosetta. We did not go to Maximo.
Oh, and Casa Virginia together, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Maximo Bistro, I actually went with our friend Abdo. Talk about a wasted culinary experience. For him, not me. But yeah, no, that is a very good restaurant. We'll have to go there next time.
Oh, sorry. Masali Imais. I'm sorry. I have to say it.
Oh, yeah.
Masali Imais, have never been. They got their star. They're actually moving location. They're not open right now. They're going to a new spot, hopefully with more space. Have to go to Masali.
That's one that I haven't been to either, and it's always on the list. And I feel like when we were there for like a month, it just happened to be like the case that they were shut for an entire month. It just always seems to be like ships passing in the night. So it's got to be like number one next time we go. Yeah.
Let's put it on the top of the priority list. I would say they had weird hours. I was there in Mexico City for a month as well in COVID. The lunch hours were super weird. It was hard to get a reservation because they're so small. Hopefully the new space will make it a bit easier.
But overall, would you say that Mexico City still really hits as a food destination?
It does for me, for sure. I mean, it does for sure. I mean, because the number one thing is too, like, I mean, we talk shit on lists a lot, but you rely so heavily on the list when you're visiting out of the country. You don't necessarily have the time.
Yeah.
Like for me on this trip, right, with like 9 people who've never been, I got to like know exactly where I'm going before I go. I would love to go spend another month with like no plans, like basically no reservations, like maybe 2 for the month.
Yeah.
And then just explore, right? It's like not like just nonstop exploring. There's an endless amount of things we could go eat there.
Yeah.
That we haven't gone to yet. And so compared even to like in LA, like I think it offers more than almost any city I can think of in the US.
Wow. Okay. Shots fired at New York City. Well, hey, thank you for asking me about my vacation and my holidays. They were just fine. Thank you for asking. I will just say real quick, my Feast of the Seven Fishes was a little reduced this year for the reason that I was alluding to earlier, that unfortunately my in-laws and my wife just don't have the largest appetite. So therefore, I've really got to be good at coursing things out. And unfortunately, by the time we got to 4 fishes, people were tapping out. They were tapping out, bro. So I had to make an executive decision. Do I force 3 fishes down their throats to get to 7? Or do we cap it at 5, knowing that we cannot get to 6 because as long as you do odd numbers, it's still good luck? I made the decision. We ended at 5. We ended on one of the best dishes I've made all year. I recreated Wolfgang Puck's smoked salmon pizza,
Ooh.
but I made the dough from scratch 48 hours ahead, hydrated it to the degree that I like, and let it ferment for 48 hours, and did it in the uni oven, which you did not know I had. And it came out amazing, dude. I'm not going to say it's better than Wolfgang's, just different, okay? Just different. But if I have to choose, I'm picking mine, okay?
Dude, first of all, I think you made a wise decision. Second of all, respect for the Wolfgang Puck pizza. Very impressive. Take me through your strategy for the first 4 courses. What were you serving?
So knowing that, my in-laws and my wife don't like to eat they don't like to eat Italian amounts, Italian amounts. And so what we always do is we start the day relatively early at around 2 p.m., 3 p.m. And since last year, we've been doing the tin fish board, which is a great way to knock out 3 fishes right off the bat. We had some smoked mussels, smoked mackerel, some high quality anchovies. My wife made an amazing cheese board with olives. She made this awesome ricotta and herb dip. And that was lunch. We had this as a late lunch, but it could also be sort of qualified as an early appetizer for the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Then we got going with the rest of the courses. And really, we only had 2 more courses in us at that point because everybody was so full. One thing I make every year is fried calamari because that's something that my grandma always used to make, and it's just a very sentimental dish for me, so I just have to have it on Christmas Eve. So I made that from scratch. And then I had this pizza in my locker, which I'd been making for 48 hours, so I wasn't not going to make it, right? But the dishes we sacrificed was just one dish that contained 2 fishes, but it was butterflied shrimp stuffed with the most amazing crab cake from Maryland. Actually, the same one that we ordered for Thanksgiving that was in the freezer. So my mother-in-law was going to make a crab stuffed shrimp, which unfortunately we didn't get to. But hey, 5 fishes, respect. Put some respect on our name.
I respect it. I respect a fried calamari, one of my favorite appetizers out there. If it's ever on the menu, which it always is, I'm getting some fried calamari. Getting some fried calamari.
It always is. It always is. But I think it's too heavy at places. I think people do too much with the breading when really all you need is a light dusting of flour, and you fry the calamari, salt it as soon as it comes out of the fryer, and it's just simple. Squeeze a lemon, no dipping sauce. That's the way we do it.
So if I'm hearing you right, your in-laws and wife were full after the tin fish and cheese board and fried calamari?
No, they were full after the tin fish board.
Wow. I feel like that's a them problem. I'm not gonna lie. just pace.
Yeah, this is a user error.
Yeah. Just pace yourselves. Pace yourselves, guys. Come on.
Yeah, this is user error. I actually think that the board is too ambitious. Next year, I think we've got to do tiny little bites, tiny little tin fish bites or something.
A amuse-bouche. Three bites. 3 1 bites. 3 different fish. This is the right thinking. I like this.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a possibility that one year we would spend Christmas together?
I mean, I'd love to, I think.
Are we there yet?
Emily and I, so the last 2 months of our lives have been fucking insane. I've literally been home in LA 3 out of the last 2 months. 3 days out of the last 2 months. It's been fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And we ended this and we're not fucking going anywhere. We'll be right fucking here. People want to see us, they can come to us. I don't know if this will be the end up being the plan, but I will say I'm hoping I'll be in town next time around, so you never know.
All right, well, there's always an open invite, and as you just heard, I'm always in the market for additional eaters to eat our food. Look, another thing that we just experienced was the New Year's Eve and it becoming 2025 after 2024. Last year, we famously tried to make some New Year's resolutions. I'm not sure how good we stuck to them. Can you remind listeners what yours was?
Ooh, I had one was to stop using DoorDash, or basically stop ordering food, or at least minimize it, right? And 2, I think we only did 2, right? I was going to cook at home much more.
Yeah. And
specifically, cook through the Guerrilla Tacos cookbook. I would give myself, I think I got a solid 3 to 4 months of consistency in. I did really well on cooking, on not ordering, and on getting through the cookbook through April. Then travel started, and I really got screwed over. I'm not to spoil anything, but I'm definitely I need to get back onto the no ordering, and that ties into some of the other stuff we're going to talk about, not using delivery apps. Like I'm going to try and stick to that.
Yeah.
And then I think I might pick a new cookbook this year. I don't know what it is yet, but I really liked doing that. I've definitely gotten much better at tacos and making salsas and stuff. But overall, I'd say a decent fail. How'd you do on yours?
I failed spectacularly. I think my New Year's resolution was to get to like 80% of the restaurants on the 101 from 2023 at this point.
I thought you said you're going to do the whole damn thing.
Did I say the whole thing? I probably did. I'm just trying to make my failure sound better.
I think you said it. Well, I think what it was is you want to eat at the whole 101 list, but you probably had already eaten at like 20, 25 or so, right? Or more.
Okay. So the problem is, A, I've got to eat a lot of other food because of other things, right? So it's hard to make time to get to those restaurants specifically. But B, the list changes every year, right? So it's kind of like hard to keep straight which ones you went to and like that were on the 2022 list, but not in 2023. So I wasn't good at like keeping track of it, but I did do the math. I think I got to like 60% of them by the end of it. So not amazing. I fell shy by quite a lot. However, I think that is a dumb resolution. Honestly, my resolution this year is to eat out less. I know that sounds crazy, but like I ate out so much last year. Like I just like I was at restaurants like 5 to 6 times a week.
Oh my God, dude. Jesus Christ.
Probably more, honestly. Like, well, because I'd hit like multiple restaurants in a day, right? So like, you know, for like noodles or stuff like that, I'd be doing like three in a day sometimes, right? So like I was going out a lot, and I think this year my goal is to, yes, obviously like eat out a normal amount, especially that will like allow us to keep our fingers on the pulse of what's happening in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I really want to get back to cooking. Like I just miss cooking, and I've cooked so much over the holidays.
Yeah.
And it's been so nice. So like honestly, big picture might seem a little counterintuitive, but my resolution is to eat out less.
Yeah, look, I don't blame you. I mean, for you, that's a reasonable goal, right? Like embedded in my don't order in goal is to actually eat out more, or at least eat out more intentionally, right? I want to be cooking, and then if I'm eating restaurant food, I want to be eating it out at the restaurant to support the restaurant, to not pay like useless fees and delivery stuff, and to not just have like that fucking like it's like bad financially. I think it's bad health wise. It's bad for the industry. So eat out. And when it counts, right? You and I are going out to dinner pretty soon. We have 2 dinners this month already planned.
Right. That's what I mean. Like we have 2 epic dinners coming up this month, which are like to me like the perfect like intentional amount of eating, right? Well, no, I'll be doing a lot more than that, I'm sure. But just in terms of like having those on the calendar, we're going to Rosaruma, the new restaurant from Chef Johnny Lee on West 3rd, the new like Malaysian-ish restaurant that just opened. And finally, Father Sal is going to be paying off his Vespertine bet at the end of the month. So those are 2 pretty big epic things to cross off our list.
We still have to take Jesse and Daniel to Peru.
Yeah.
So I mean so like stuff like that I still look forward to. I need to decide on the cookbook I wanna cook through. Maybe I cook through the intuitive cookbook, right? The New York Times one, get a little.
I just don't think you're gonna like learn a lot from that. Like it's literally just like put pasta, like boil some pasta, throw some anchovies on there, throw some butter on there, and that's it. That's the recipe.
Yeah. That's fair. I think it should be. Oh, I actually know which one I'm gonna do. There's I gotta check on how like, you know, quote unquote woke or like like okay this cookbook is. But I got one in LA in August called Japanesey for Japanese food. And just like I went deep on tacos last year, I think Japanese food holds a lot of potential, and I'm excited to dive in. That'd be a whole new like I have got my Pakistani like pantry where I got all the spices I need, and I can like whip something up no matter what. That's Pakistani. I can do that with Mexican food. I got my dried chilies. Got my spices that I need. I can do that at any point. I got my tortillas. Japanese food might be the new frontier. I think I'm excited for that.
Let me ask you this. Who wrote Japanesey?
He's white. White dude. I saw it. Look, it's a really good cookbook. I actually read, I'm not even kidding. I bought it in LA when I was still living in Seattle. I read the whole cookbook on the flight. Yeah. I read every page of it. And I really, I learned a ton. It's really well laid out. It's like kind of speaks to me. It's a white dude. And I was like, I got to be careful with this. Yeah. I got to check how legit this is.
I'm going to be honest. I don't love it. If this was 2020, 2021, I'd be extremely concerned. Now that we're in 2024, 2025, I'm sorry. the block isn't quite as hot, so you might be okay. But like, I just think like, be careful.
Yeah, I don't know if you're bringing the right sort of philosophy towards any of the issues that were raised.
What is the philosophy other than just don't get canceled?
Okay, fair enough for you. Fair enough for you. Jesus Christ.
That is literally how I live my life, brother. Okay, look, let's move on to the headline that caught my eye this week. And really, there's just one. It was the one super interesting thing that I think that dropped. Honestly, like a lot of the food outlets were doing like 2024 recap pieces or 2025 trend predictions, and we've done a bit of that here. So I really wanted to zero in on some like pretty good journalism that I think happened at the LA Times. Stephanie Breijo wrote an article on the notable restaurant closures of 2024, and Cindy Carcamo wrote a sort of more like broader piece on the 7 issues facing restaurants this year. Don't want to start the year on a downer, but obviously this is like one of the most pressing things that happened in 2024. We definitely expect it to continue in 2025. Saul, what do you think of these pieces in this sort of like mini package that the LA Times put together?
The Stephanie Breijo piece really bummed me out, man.
Yeah.
I missed Alimento. I didn't know Alimento closed. I ate there earlier this year.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Even Brera, though it's not a restaurant. I think it's Officina Brera, right? That would close as well.
It used to be that, yeah.
Yeah, and they changed it to Brera. I mean, look, not one of our favorite meals, not a meal that we could remember very well, but that's a memory.
At all.
Right? Really at all, right? And so, like, I mean, this is bicyclette, like, I mean, nonstop. These are such it's really sad to see how we talk about it often, but seeing it all laid out in one, I was like, wow, like the scene is really like it's a real scar.
Big hits.
I feel like almost across the city, right? Like over 100 restaurants.
Yeah. Some
really important ones to us personally, to the city as a whole. Real bummer. And then I appreciated the Cindy Carcamo piece just for laying out like a similar thing, right? We talk about the issues that she touches on, like in like hopscotch across them as we hear about them go along, but to have them all snapshotted here between credit card fees, which you haven't talked about a ton, childcare, which I appreciate her mentioning as like an important aspect.
Yeah.
Labor costs, delivery app fees, which we just touched on, service charges, like seeing it laid out here, I found like just like a helpful primer going in. But I mean, yeah, not a bummer of a way, but like just like a grounded way. Remember what we're up against here.
Totally. I mean, in some ways, yeah, you could look at it as a bummer, but I think grounding is a much better way to look at it, to your point. I think it's just like, this is the reality, right? Like shit's been tough and it's going to continue to be tough. Like it's not just because we're flipping the page on the year. I think Cindy Carcamo's piece does a really good job in laying out that the fact that those issues that they face in 2024 aren't really going away. The only one that maybe could turn, and it's a big if, but you know, Cindy wrote about sort of like how the sort of like lingering effects of the strikes continued to impact the business. Obviously, the hope is that with like more distance from the strikes, that becomes less and less of an issue. Although, I don't know, everything we read about Hollywood isn't exactly super comforting in terms of the return of the industry. But yeah, I mean, I got to say, I really appreciated Stephanie Breijo's, the way that she laid it out. I feel like a lot of times those articles don't get to spend a lot of time on the individual restaurants, but I think she pretty much wrote a blurb for like every single restaurant that closed. And I liked it. It was almost like a little obituary for these places that have meant a lot to the city. Now, I know that we love all our children equally, but was any restaurant closure of 2024 more painful than others for you?
I mean, we've talked about Button Mash and Poltergeist a million times, so they know how we feel about them. I mean, Alimento, just from the shock, I was like, what? I mean, I went to Alimento back in like 2016.
Yeah.
I'd recently, me and Emily ate there when we came to LA this past year in March, and it was just like a standby. It was like a kind of like a forever spot. I recommended it to her brother.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he had a chance to go probably before it closed. Actually, I'm realizing right now, because I recommended it like over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They may have already been closed.
Oh, they had been closed for a minute at that point. Yeah.
I was like, you should check out this awesome Italian spot. And they're like, we haven't seen it. And I was like, weird, it's great. And then that explains it. So yeah, that's a bummer.
No, that space is becoming actually Bar Siesta, which is coming to us from Heather Sperling of Botanica and the people at Siesta, the tin fish company. So like it's going to flip into something cool and that I'm sure will like serve the neighborhood well. But yeah, definitely a sad one. He can still try the food that Chef Zach over there makes at Cosa Buona though in Echo Park.
Yep.
For me, one that really sort of the rug was swept under was All Day Baby.
Yeah.
Like All Day Baby announced that they were closing like 2 days after Lynn was like at our live show. And I'd just seen her and like, you know, I just, you know, had no idea that this was happening. And then 2 days later, the news drops. That place has been such like a mainstay in the community. Obviously, Chef Jonathan passed last year, and I'm sure they've had to go through a lot of different reorganizations and consolidations, and I'm assuming that had something to do with it, like wanting to put more resources into Here's Looking at You, right? But the loss of All Day Baby is a big one, and I really haven't seen like widespread mourning for a restaurant like I saw for All Day Baby, and I think that's just not a testament to the food, but also to like, I don't know, Lynn's leadership in the city, sort of like the role that restaurant played. Also at like a really pivotal time. Like I think they like were supposed to open right around the pandemic, and were sort of like a great success story of like how to make it and how to do things like in the right like way with integrity during a really tough time. So yeah, man, they all hurt, but that one hurt a little bit more. You listed some of the issues that Cindy spoke about in terms of the issues facing restaurants this year. Were any surprising to you?
So credit card fees have not come up in our conversation, right? I think delivery, a lot of these other things, whether it's healthcare costs, labor costs, service charges, we've talked about. Childcare, we haven't talked about explicitly, but it's something, I mean, I touch it a lot. Like it touches on my work a lot, on my day job. So it's something I've been generally aware of. The credit card fees, I think, is an interesting one, especially because I feel like there's more and more attention being brought to the amount of monopoly power that Visa and MasterCard have over that market and how that impacts small businesses. So
yeah,
I'm interested to learn more about how this impacts restaurant. It's much broader than just restaurants, but I didn't realize, it's not something I thought about. It wasn't top of mind for me when we think about the different pressures that restaurants are facing.
Well, again, a testament to the fact that you don't listen to this podcast, because Heather Sperling did bring this up in our Botanica interview, actually, because it was part of the piece that she wrote for the LA Times, where she broke down where like every dollar in a restaurant goes to. But to your point, like it's definitely right. But it's definitely something that most diners don't realize. You know what I mean? And it's also interesting because I feel like a lot of restaurants have moved to like not accepting cash, like they only accept cards, right? So it feels like, you know, as a diner, you're like, well, then that must be the like right thing to do, right? Is to pay with your card. But yeah, that 2%, 3% fee skimming off the top from like Visa and MasterCard makes a huge difference at the end of the day. But you know what my problem is with all this, Saul? Like, and I think we talked about this last year is, look, credit to LA Times and to Cindy for writing this piece, because it's great to like bring attention to it. However, I think like we've had enough of these pieces. I think we've had enough of these like big picture, all of the things that are wrong with the LA restaurant scene. I would like to see more deep dives on the individual reasons. Like I would like to see a deep dive on the credit card fee issue, right? Let's talk about the monopoly. Let's talk about what other things are available to restaurants and what efforts are being done. They sort of like hinted to some things that could be done. I think they interviewed the Independent Hospitality Coalition, who kind of hinted that there's a monopoly and that, you know, nobody else can succeed. But like they didn't really get into what efforts have been done to try to like circumvent that. And I would love to learn more about that. So I think I've been seeing a lot of these like out with this for 2024 and in with this for 2025. I would love to do out with these types of big pieces and in with more deep dives with a lot of solutions-oriented journalism.
Yeah, solutions journalism. Let's bring it in for 2025. It's a great point. I think I agree with you, man. Like journalism can be used to identify and articulate problems, but it just as well can be used to highlight potential solutions. And look, let's keep an eye out for it. Let's make sure we're not missing it ourselves. But yeah, I think you're certainly right that, I mean, look, the bad news still has to be covered.
For sure.
But I think you're right that we kind of get it. It's not that we get it, but like, I think there's a clear sense of what the problems are. The Heather Sperling piece, thank you for reminding me, was a great one. That was like an effective deep dive, right? To help us better understand what this really looks like.
Yeah. Dude, that's like James Beard worthy, honestly. Like that should be in contention for a James Beard Media Award.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And so both you're asking for deep dives on stuff like credit cards. I'm sure that's out there, right? That's like a Vox piece, right? Like a policy market piece.
Yeah.
I think what I would like to see from like an LA Times food section or an Eater is how restaurants are successfully navigating this stuff.
Yeah.
And we saw it a little bit, right? With like that piece on energy, right? Do you remember that piece we read where it was like,
yeah, it was good. It was an Eater.
Yeah, Eater piece. It was a deep dive on like how on energy consumption and the different costs, and I think like electric versus gas stoves, and they went through all the issues with it and the potential complications with gas stoves in the kitchen and the benefits of electric, and then they talked about Ed Lee's new restaurant in DC, right?
Yeah,
where he's gonna try to like super all electric and like recyclables and all that stuff. And like as a real like pilot to see how you can maybe effectively run a restaurant in that model. So those kinds of examples, more and more, should they exist in California or outside of it, would be useful to see.
Yeah, and you're right. We should keep our eye out for it, try to highlight them as they happen, because they probably are happening. But yeah, I think we sort of do get a sense of the issues. And I will say one that surprised me from Cindy's piece was the childcare piece. That was one that I think had not been covered. However, that was one that was like, yeah, an issue for staffing and to understand the bigger like sort of ecosystem of problems that restaurants are facing. But like, I mean, what can restaurants really do about that?
Yeah, I think, well, what can restaurants really do about that? And as we're talking, I'm realizing like, I guess the role of an eater or LA Times, the most beneficial role is even less highlighting solutions because and more so explaining to readers why they're experiencing what they're experiencing. A little bit of that is part of this piece, right? A little bit of that is like why food prices are what they are, right? Why that's a challenge, why like all these different factors that drive it up. But like, and maybe more of an explanation as to why you should consider continuing to spend your dollar out eating at restaurants and understanding and giving them context so people don't show up like shocked, be like, hey, here's what you can expect going out and here's why. Yeah. So we can like kind of continue to get behind the industry. That kind of framing I think would be helpful too.
Yeah, that's, I guess, yeah, to cover the solutions, really you would need people who are advancing interesting solutions, right? Like you would need people who are advancing interesting ideas, who are campaigning for them. Yeah. It reminds me of like what we used to do in our past life, right? Where we used to try to bring awareness around issues and like different solutions. Like it reminds me of the like 18-year term limits on the Supreme Court thing, right? Which was like a huge pipe dream back when I was working on that. But like, it was like, now it's like part of the conversation. It's never going to happen, but at least it's like in the zeitgeist, right? So it's like that kind of thing, but for like these issues facing restaurants. Now, is it as existential to the future of our country? Maybe not, but certainly to the livelihood of many people, and that's what we're here to talk about. Now, look, we talked about New Year's resolutions. We're talking about solutions. Based on your reading of this piece, what are a couple New Year's resolutions we can adopt as diners to help out our restaurants on what's promising to be another tough year?
You know what? I think honestly the thing we could do most besides actually spending our dollar out, right, which we've discussed, is like being one of the voices, like in our day-to-day lives, not talking about on this podcast, but in our day-to-day lives, to our friends, to explain to them like what they're experiencing too. Because we care about it, right? We're reading the stuff that other people in our lives may not have read, and whose reasonable first reaction might be like, man, fuck eating out. Like I can't do it. Like $100 for two people, whatever it is. And that's totally reasonable. And like you could say like, hey, here's why. But we can be the one to say, this is what we're experiencing and why. That doesn't mean they're going to go do it. But like at least being the one, like the voice for restaurants as we learn about the pressures that they face to help people understand why it is the reality. And then, I just remembered one of your resolutions last year was to not eat alone so much. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. I fucked that one up. No, I did good. Actually. I think like on the countdown, I probably brought people along to like 20% of them. Pretty good.
Yeah. And so there's a little bit of like, hey, like let's get out with folks that like our friends as well, right? I made plans with two of my old college friends to go visit Evil Cooks for the first time on Saturday, and they had like a migraine on Saturday or something. I had to cancel, but hey, Evil Cooks, 2 new patrons they wouldn't have had otherwise.
There you go.
I hope they had a good time. I have to text them what it was like, but I don't know, man. It's just I don't know if you have any particular ideas here either, but to me it's like kind of the same old plus kind of bringing in a increased awareness as to what the industry's facing.
Yeah, I think that's a good one, man. I don't like to give you kudos a lot, but I like there's the obvious ones. Like, yeah, the piece goes into like DoorDash and
quit. No, actually, that's an important one. Quit DoorDash. Quit Uber Eats.
No, I don't think so. Because when they interviewed Suzanne Coyne of Luke, right? She's like, we do it because it's better to have a sale than to not have a sale, even if DoorDash is taking 30% off the top.
Yeah.
Here's what we can do, right? If there's an option to go through the restaurant as opposed to DoorDash, like opt to go through the restaurant, but don't stop ordering from restaurants just because they only do DoorDash. Like that's not fair to take that money away from them, I think.
Yeah.
But your point is a good one, dude. Like I get in my comments on Instagram all the time, there's people like, hey, why is this pasta $34, right? And it's like if you're armed with the knowledge of why costs are so high in the industry, like
Right.
in your community, like tell people, or like in your circle of people, like, do your best to like convey that to people. Are we sounding too like, I feel like John Lovett or like, John Favreau telling people to like go vote?
I never feel like either one of those men, but a little bit. I feel like we can get off this topic. We don't like. It's just like if you ask the question, right? What can we do? I think that's about it. I like how you were like get out in your community and tell people, and I'm like just imagining some town crier being like, "The prices are high because childcare."
No, we should do canvassing, door knocking, all the old goodies. Yeah, you're right. We can get off this topic. Just, in short, things are going to be tough. Let's be mindful, and let's do what we can to support our restaurants.
Order pickup from restaurants as much as you can instead of ordering on DoorDash. How about that?
Boom. There. We solved it. We solved the fucking issue. You down for a quick round of Chef's Kiss Big Miss before it's your turn to take the interview chair?
I can't wait, bud. Let's do this. I've barely looked at any of these. Okay, cool.
This is good. That's good. You're not supposed to look at these. Okay, here we go. From what I can tell by reading the tea leaves on Instagram, it looks like Eater LA is now going to be Eater Southwest. Is this a chef's kiss or a big miss, Saul?
I mean, we covered it. It's a big miss for me. The bigger miss is like, when are we gonna understand what's going on here?
I know.
Like, I want to know what the deal is. Like, what can we expect from Eater? What is the new structure? I think you learned this from like an Insta profile.
Yeah.
Like, can we just get a lowdown of like what to expect? That's my big miss, right? Like, I want to know what I can expect in terms of coverage and from where and how. Generally speaking, I'm gonna miss Eater's coverage of like, I mean, I can use Eater whenever I was doing a road trip. I could always pull up Eater for any small city I was driving through, right? It doesn't seem like it's gonna be possible anymore based on this new structure.
It remains to be seen, but I agree with you. Tell us what the fuck is happening. Literally, like I still go to the restaurant la.eater.com. It still says Eater Los Angeles, yet people's Instagram bios already say Eater Southwest. Like, I just think it's not on the newsroom. Like it's not Matt Kang's job to tell us what's happening, but like corporate over there should be doing a better corporate communications job of like letting their public know what they can expect. Totally on board. Moving on to the next one. Tables for Applebee's in Times Square were going for as much as $2,300 to see the New Year's ball drop from their restaurant. One of the more economical options actually was 2 seats at a communal table for $849 a ticket. It came with an open bar from 7 p.m. to midnight, a dinner buffet including sirloin, barbecue riblets, and pasta primavera, and past appetizers such as double crunch boneless wings, mini frankfurters, and chicken wontons. Saul, is spending a month's rent at Applebee's to see the ball drop a chef's kiss or a big miss?
I mean, I was gonna like ironically say this is a chef's kiss because like look, good for Applebee's, and if you enjoy watching a ball fall from the sky for an arbitrary holiday, good for you for spending the money on that and doing Applebee's and eating Applebee's while you do it. But then after the conversation we just had, all I can think is like that's all money that could have gone to actual good restaurants. Like, yeah, that's all. That's all. Like, what a waste. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can charge it. People want it. Whatever. Follow your bliss, but damn.
Yeah. Did you know that Nate Bargatze used to work at Applebee's?
I did. That's where he met his wife. I know, dude, I know too much about Nate Bargatze. Told you, man.
Clearly. All right, last one. The New York Times' Kim Severson, in one of the best sort of like 2025 trend prediction stories that I saw, predicted that savory coffee will be one of 2025's food trends. Saul, how do you feel about sunchoke puree and avocado in your latte? Is that a chef's kiss or a big miss?
I don't feel good about it. I guess I would try it. I guess I'd have to see, but like there was that fad like a while back where it was like butter in your coffee, right? Bulletproof coffee. Or Buddy
Sharif was in that.
Yeah, Sharif was doing that, right? I tried it like once and it was fine. Like it was like, I mean, a fatty coffee. It was a little strange, but it tasted fine. But butter is just like dairy, right? It's like a milk/cream adjacent.
Yeah.
Sunchoke puree and I mean avocado. I can see the analog too, but I don't like the thought. So I'm probably gonna miss it, but
yeah.
Let me just say this: I don't think that's gonna blow up in 2025. I don't think we're ready for that yet as a country. I think we might see the seeds of it begin to plant, maybe, but I don't see that happening.
I think this is prescient. I think it's going to be all over the place. I don't, maybe not in 2025. Maybe it's a little ahead of its time. But
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
yeah, but I think savory drinks in general, like I just think we're moving it. Like I like, can't you just see like 20 years down the line, people showing up to work with like a mug of bone broth?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. But that's different from avocado latte. I mean, isn't that different?
I mean, exactly. Is it?
You might not be right. I mean, especially with all these like fancy coffees that are like, I like now that I'm in LA, let me tell you, the world doesn't drink coffee like this. this shit is crazy. Like this is another level. So maybe in LA or New York, I'm sure it's there too. Like the advent of like these crazy coffee mixes and drinks will lead eventually to savory. It almost certainly will, I guess. But I don't know if it's for me, man.
Have you found your favorite coffee shop, by the way?
Ooh, good question. I mean, I'm really close to Go Get 'em Tiger down in Larchmont, right? But I don't know if that's my favorite yet. I don't think I have one. There are more. I haven't been drinking that much coffee, I'll say this year, as much anymore. It's related to other habits I'm trying to leave behind in 2024. But hopefully there are a couple of good-looking ones around my spot. So I'll let you know when I find my go-to.
I'll be waiting with bated breath. Well, thanks for that, Father Sal. In part 2, we'll be back, and you'll be in the interviewer's chair to ask me about the 2025 countdown. Dear listener, I made a deal with my wife. She let me start a food podcast and eat ungodly amounts of noodles, pizza, sandwiches, and more under 2 conditions. One is that I never utter her name. The other is that I find ways to be healthy outside of my work in food. Being the fantastic partner I am, I found a few ways to up my health game. I exercise almost every day, I try to sneak in salads for lunch whenever I can, and I only ever snack on healthy foods. The macadamia nut has become an essential part of my daily routine with the best omega-6 to 3 ratios in the nut game, 8 times better than pistachios and 20 times better than cashews. At houseofmacadamias.com, they've got a bunch of different macadamia products that you can enjoy, like savory and sweet snack packs and chocolate-covered snack bars. One of the problems with macadamias I've found is that they can be expensive, but I'm solving this for you, dear listener, because as of today, all you've got to do is head to houseofmacadamias.com and use code LAFOOD to get a 10% discount on a healthy snack that also happens to be delicious. So what are you waiting for? Head to www.houseofmacadamias.com/discount/LAFood and go nuts.
Welcoming back to the podcast, dear listener, our friend Lucas Servodio. I'm your host, Father Sal, for this special segment of the LA Food Podcast, where we announce the 2025 Countdown Cuisine, which is, Luca.
Burgers, baby. We're doing 100 burgers in 365 days. My arteries are already scared to death, but that's what we're doing.
It's about time. I remember last year, when you did the poll, we were like, burgers for sure. You had done pizza, you had done tacos. Kind of burgers seem like the next logical step from there in terms of an LA food.
Yeah.
Noodles is kind of a shock. It was kind of a shock. And before we get into the burger countdown and how you'll approach it, I want to look back on 2024 because I remember you were legit a little bit scared about noodles last year. You were terrified. How did it go?
So I had just come off a year of doing 100 sandwiches in 365 days, and it was very easy. Like, sandwiches was so easy. There were so many different sandwiches. I kind of knew off the top of my head what the, iconic LA sandwiches were that I needed to hit up. And I had a very simple scoring system. It was like bread, fillings, construction, right? Like, easy, done, dusted. You come up with a score. You can rank them. Like, even though they're not exactly apples to apples, they kind of are apples to apples because it's ultimately things between bread, right? However, noodles winning last year was a massive shock. I thought burgers were for sure going to take the crown. Noodles came in at the very last minute and won, and it scared the shit out of me because as I was making the list of noodles, just by going to like Eater and The Infatuation and the LA Times and looking at all their list of noodles, I wrote down like 180 noodle spots from like all types of different worldly cuisines that I had zero experience with. I just was like really afraid that I would just like be shown up as a charlatan and not knowing what the hell I'm talking about, basically. Which kind of ended up happening, but I kind of leaned into it.
So you said that I remember importantly, so you dispensed of the countdownometer for noodles, right? Because of that lack of familiarity
Yep.
and kind of the humility you wanted to bring to the year, right? I'm curious, what was like the most kind of surprising thing you learned in this noodle journey, or like your favorite new memory, favorite like takeaway from the year?
I mean, honestly, this was in many ways my favorite countdown. And that is because like there was so much to learn about noodles. Like so the thing that I did with noodles is I tried to make sure that as much as possible, every single noodle that I visited wasn't just a new restaurant, but it was an entirely new noodle dish that I had not done before, right? I was not doing like 6 pad thais, right? I dug deep into like types of like Thai noodles, Vietnamese noodles, Chinese noodles that I had never had before and I never even heard of before. So it required a lot of research, and that's what I really enjoyed about it, right? I got to learn about my favorite subject in the world, and I would try to like, dive deep either into like the history of the cuisine or in the history of the restaurateurs in the restaurant. And really, I kind of let the restaurant tell me the story. It was like, if I'm going there and like this is a restaurant that's like really well known for one thing, and they want to tell me the story of that dish, the history of it, like the village it's from in China, right? I'm going to let them tell me that. Or if it's just like a restaurant that had a really cool, like, and unique start, right? Maybe they started as like a pop-up in someone's home, and then now they're like slinging amazing noodles from a brick and mortar and having incredible success. I let that be the story. So I think I just like learned a different way of like approaching food, and I liked it because I think you told me to do this, but like I approached it very much with a learning mindset as opposed to like a reviewing mindset. And that's why I'm a little nervous to get into burgers, because I think it's going to be different.
Yeah, I'm excited to touch on that. Last question on 2024. Now, at the end of the sandwich countdown, I'd asked you, like, now that we're at the end of 100 sandwiches, how has your relationship to sandwiches changed? Are you a sandwich boy now? You said you were.
Yeah.
Like you'd opened a whole new doors. What's been the, you're done with 100 noodles. What's your relationship like with noodles today that's different from the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I'm good on noodles. I'm good. No, look, I have a deep appreciation for them, right? But to me, like, noodles are amazing, but in a lot of ways, they're just gateways to like, understanding like the different types of cuisines. Like they're sort of the dish that you gravitate towards at Chinese restaurants, Thai restaurants as sort of like the most familiar ones, right? And then you sort of like can build a meal around that, trying some other dishes that you maybe haven't tried before. So in that sense, I'm not going to say noodles aren't interesting in that way. They certainly are. But like, I don't know, man, I'm a little noodled out.
Yeah.
I think it's just when you've gotten too close to something in a way that like you've really like lived and breathed it. And I think I did that with noodles in a way I just haven't done before. Like I just read so much about noodles. I listened to podcasts about different types. I watched YouTube videos and shit. I spent time on tons of pronunciation YouTube videos as well to make sure that I wasn't botching like how to say like, naengmyeon in the Korean canon, right? It was just a lot of work to the point where I need a breather, basically.
I mean, look, you'll walk away with like a deep knowledge of this cuisine.
Totally.
That you would never have had before. And that you now have more than like 99% of the population, maybe 98. That's really cool. But I also understand where you're coming from with this. Just like from like sandwiches are, at least it's always between bread, but they're diverse enough.
Yeah.
That I can see never getting bored of necessarily eating sandwiches. Noodles similarly to eating a rice bowl.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I've had rice. I'm good on rice. Noodles are more diverse than that, but still.
No, but they are diverse. It's just, I think like, so one thing I really liked about it is I got to try a bunch of restaurants I had never been to before. Like with sandwiches, I'd been to a lot of the restaurants before, and I'd had a lot of those sandwiches before. But with a lot of these noodles, like I think I went to like 15 or 20 Korean restaurants in Koreatown that I'd just never been to before, right? But they're right there every single day of the year serving amazing food, right? And it was just an opportunity to get out there and try them. And for that, I'm like really grateful. I also spent so much time in the San Gabriel Valley, like more time than I'd spent like ever, right? So I have a much better feel for like sort of the rhythms of it, its geography, like where things are, like what different pockets of it are known for. So in that sense, I'm really grateful it happened. I gotta say, I'm sort of like out on pasta.
Wow.
I think that it really made me realize that LA is, for all of the amazing Italian restaurants there's really just a handful of excellent pasta places.
Quite a take. quite a take.
You think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I actually, I feel like when we got to LA, or when I got to LA, I'll say in 2015, Italian food was at a real peak, it seemed like.
Yeah.
You know, like there was like a real crest of like Breijo had just opened, Alimento was opening. I mean, Cosa doesn't have pasta, but like there was an Italian like spike. And it seems like we're at sort of a crest, like a downward crest.
Yeah.
Other places are coming up. And so I think just fundamentally, your observation here is probably accurate.
Well, I think you're on the money. I think it's just like, it's saturation, right? And I feel like we've reached peak Italian, and there's a lot of places that are doing things well, but there's only a few, I think, that are doing things really transcendentally. There's still quite a few. There's like, I'd say like probably 15 places. But how many Italian restaurants do we have? We got like hundreds, right? So yeah, that was probably the biggest sort of like takeaway I had in terms of like Italian pasta. I will say, I do want to point out that I just put out my top 10 list of pastas, and being the big man that I am, that doesn't hold grudges, guess who I included on that?
I saw this. Yeah, I mean, look, you'd lose all credibility if you didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw Funky was what, number 7, number 6?
6. That's good.
6. Yeah, that's pretty good. Look, man, I'm shocked that you finished the year housed given the amount of gas and money you spent eating out. But I would say, I think this is my favorite year of you doing the countdown too.
Thanks, man.
In terms of like what I learned and like what I want to follow up on. My sister is texting me constantly your videos, like May Malai. Like I have like 15 new spots I can take my sister now, who's a big noodle fan.
Dude, May Malai is right up the street from you. That's like one of my favorite bites I had all year. We got to go.
All right, man. Burgers 2025. I'm a little worried about you. I will say, as you alluded to, burgers more so than pizza, pasta, pizza, noodles, sandwiches, or tacos. I think are going to be like, this might be the year you like jump the shark, bro, in terms of your physical health. We'll see what happens. But tell me your relationship to burgers going in. I've heard a few of your takes. We've discussed them on the podcast before, but heading into 2025, 100 burgers, where's your mind at?
I'm not a burger boy. I'm not a burger boy at all. Like I will.
Wow.
The only time I will order a burger is if I'm at a really expensive restaurant and I don't feel like shelling out, and the burger is the least expensive option, which happens sometimes, you know, especially like steakhouse or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up in the US, but it's just not like a staple food for me. Like it's just not something that I gravitate towards. It's very much an indulgence, but so are other categories of food that I just like better, right? Like pizza. Like if it's between pizza or burgers for like a night out, I'm getting a pizza every single time, right? That said, I have had my fair share of burgers. So like I was going through the list of burgers I want to hit up in 2025, and I've been to, you know, a lot of those places, and I think I do have strong opinions on them, right? The thing I'm worried about is my enjoyment of it, right? It's like, how much am I going to enjoy this? But then again, one thing I learned about myself from the noodle countdown is I can get excited about anything. Like, honestly, like the moment I start to dig into something and like, you know, learn about it and sort of like get into the nuance of it, like I'm all in. I got really into Australian rules football during the pandemic. Yes, partially to improve my father-in-law, but also because I just got into it because I learned more about it and then I just became obsessed, right? So while I'm not excited right now, I'm fully confident I'm going to be super excited this time next week.
Let's talk about the countdown-o-meter.
Yeah.
Right? And how you're going to approach this now. You talked about you had like a criteria for sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know, it was like bread, fillings. You had like a je ne sais quoi, like an experience one, right? Too. Yeah. Tell me how you're thinking about breaking out burgers.
So for sandwiches, big thing is we are bringing back the countdown-o-meter. We are absolutely going to be rating these burgers because they will be apples to apples. And I think that is a valuable service we can provide to people, right? However, you know, I'm wary of it because, you know, one thing that's sort of like been flooding my feed recently, I don't know if it's just because my phone is listening to me, it's like takes from like people like Bill Esparza and other people being like, you know, fuck all these influencers who gravitate towards like the easiest foods like burgers and sandwiches and pizza, and the worst ones are the ones who rate them, right? But like, I also kind of believe that like, okay, whatever, like know your place, right? I'm not a food critic. You know, we're not journalists. Like ultimately we do this because we love it. And I think a fun thing to do is to go out, come up with a rubric and see how the burgers stack up against each other. That just sounds fun to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm curious based on, so I remember you did the countdown-o-meter obviously with sandwiches. any lessons on how you approached it, right? And like how you, like, for example, something I noticed, because I actually go look at your sandwich list quite often on the website. Now that I'm in LA, I use it often to go find spots. By the way, I think Potato Chips Deli, underrated. Maybe you need to revisit that one. But you end up with a lot between like 80 and 100, right?
Yeah.
Fundamentally. I'm curious if you're going to take is there any shifts in approach or shifts in grading style that you're going to take to burgers now?
So the sandwich ratings was bread was 25%, fillings was 25%, construction was 25%, experience was 15%, and then I left 10% for like my personal taste, right? Like how much would I want to come and have this again? How long would I be willing to drive? That's all like sort of like the kind of things that I used to gauge that category. And I think the reason there were so many like high 80s, right, in sandwiches is because I was literally just going to the places with the best sandwiches.
Right.
Like I was just going to the places where people told me, this is a banging sandwich. This is awesome. And like more often than not, they were right? And like, so I think that's going to be different with burgers because I made a list of all the burgers to go out and try based on reading The Infatuation and Eater and the LA Times. And I only came up with 60 places. Like wow. It's more slim pickings, I think, with burgers. And of course, I'm sure I'll be able to get to 100, especially once people start chiming in and telling me different ones to go and try. But because there's sort of less of them out there, what are the chances all of them are amazing, right? Like probably low. Like I'm sure there are going to be some like that are less good than others.
Right.
So for this one, I don't think I'm going to do bread, fillings, construction. I think I'm going to do something like flavor, ingredients, execution of concept, like how well is it meeting its assignment. I think I'll do a small thing for like accoutrements, like how good are the fries, right? And then personal taste as well, because I think you've always got to account for that.
I like the inclusion of accoutrements. I think that's key for a burger, like generally speaking. How are you going to gauge how well it does its assignment? That's an infatuation-inspired thing, I know, right?
Yeah, it is, totally. It's infatuation in a lot of other places that I think have sort of adopted that sort of mode of thinking. But for example, like, okay, if I go to Oi Bar, I know that they're trying to do a really good like gastropub burger, right? And that's going to be what I'm judging it against is like, right. How well is it meeting the assignment of delivering a burger you want to eat with beer while you're like, watching a game? Like, is it satisfying in that way? And it'll be subjective for sure, but I think that that's an important thing to like level it out because like, again, all of these are not apples to apples. So how do you try to rate a place like the Benjamin, right? Which is a sit down steakhousey restaurant versus like a stand like Bill's in the Valley, which is like a nothing hamburger stand. Right. Well, you can do that by trying to gauge how well are they meeting their assignment, right? And that's like, okay, based on the price, based on like where you are, based on what it is, how well is it checking those boxes? That's sort of going to try to be like my category that levels out. That sort of like levels out the playing field, if that makes sense.
Yep. Actually, it really does.
There you go.
Turkey burgers, veggie burgers, salmon burgers. What isn't out? Is it just, are we talking beef burgers here? What is the line?
Yeah, so the people who love me in my life are going to balk when I say this, but I think we're going to try to keep it to beef. Like, I just think...
Wow, I'm surprised, actually.
You are? Do you think I should do others?
I think it's fair game. I think like a black bean burger or a salmon burger or a turkey burger are for sure fair game in this conversation. Now, maybe I wouldn't do more than 15, or something like that. But like if there's a place known for a certain kind of burger, that's not a beef burger, I think it totally belongs on the list. Yeah,
I think this may just be a matter of how the rubric shakes out, right? And honestly, with the rubric I just outlined, there's definitely room for burgers that are outside of beef, but I just don't want to get into a situation where because I've included like a salmon burger or something, I've missed out like a really important beef burger. And then people are like, oh, your list is completely invalid because you haven't hit this place, right? So, right. But that said, and I just don't see how they can possibly be apples to apples. Like, I'm sorry, but like a black bean burger is just never going to be on the same level as a beef burger. It's just not.
Yeah, say it, bro.
Dude, like even if it meets its assignment, like 25 out of 25, like my personal enjoyment of it is going to be like a 2 out of 10. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just is. Like, it's going to really have to blow my mind.
It's like that Parks and Rec bit. Did you watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Back in the day? Yeah. When Ron Swanson makes, versus Chris, whatever, Chris makes like a turkey chutney, beautiful burger, like two buns are competing to see who can make a better one. Ron makes beef burger with ketchup or not if you don't want it, and beef burger just like clears the turkey burger in every case. I think there might have something to that. All right, man. I'm fucking excited for this. Like, can I give you a suggestion with the countdown-o-meter?
Yeah.
I think something that happened, or something that's tough with the ratings that you do, is when you have one burger and you rate it right out the gate, right? Burger number 1 is an 85.
Yeah.
And every other kind of thing has to go up or down based on that 85, right? What if this year you wait like 10 burgers or something? I know this is a tricky thing, right? You'd have to like kind of go back and like say, okay, after 10 burgers here, like just to calibrate.
Yeah.
10 burgers for a really like three really highly rated ones that you know are good, 3 mid-level ones, 3 ones like fast food, right? Which, by the way, I think you should include fast food this year too.
I will. Yeah.
Then you know, like, kind of here's what the scale should or shouldn't be, rather than being like burger number 1, 92, and then you're stuck at 92 for the rest of them. Let me know what you think about that.
I think that is clearly you don't understand how content works. Like I can't just like, start from like episode 10 dropping the like, rating. But what I will say, and I think this is something that I was not going to do before the suggestion, is as I said, I've had a lot of these burgers before. I think I can preemptively score them. So like, I think I can score like 10 of these burgers without having gone to them like in the last 3 months or something. At least as a starting point, right? Then when I go, I can readjust the rating. Let's say, like, for example, Goldburger, I've had many times.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure I know how to rate Goldburger. Right. I can do that from the gate. I can do that with In-N-Out. I can do that with, like, the Apple Pan. I can do that with Oi Bar. I went recently, right? And I can use those as sort of, like, markers. But then, obviously, I'll still go make videos and I can readjust my rating, right? But I wasn't going to do that. And now I think I am.
I think that's a good idea.
Question I have for you, though. So one of the things I loved about not doing the countdown-o-meter is that I was never in a position where I was shitting on restaurants. Like, I just really hate the influencers, the creators, the reviewers, even the critics who shit on small businesses, right? And I just don't think that that's a good use of a platform. However, I don't really see how I can get away from disappointing some people with this, right? Like, chances are I'm going to have some burgers that, might score 70% or lower, right? Obviously, if it's like Jack in the Box, that's one thing. Like, who gives a shit? But like, if it's like, mom and pop shop in the valley or something, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like good karma. How do I balance that?
I think, this is kind of like, let's see what the case comes when how this arises, when it does arise. Like, I think you could reasonably say if there's a place that you would rank below a 70, that's an independent small business, that like maybe it just doesn't make it. I know, like, the goal here isn't to be scientific. Like, the ideas I'm giving you about like calibrating the scoring and stuff, and even when I hear you say I have like preconceived notions of the burgers, I'm like, wait, slow down, buddy. like save it for the. But this is not a scientific exercise. It's an awareness exercise, and it's an enjoyment exercise. And so I do think if you have a small business that's below like a 70 or whatever the cutoff that makes sense, you do that. I think there's no problem putting Jack in the Box at like a 50% is what it is. Like, let's not. Yeah. And I don't think you're hurting anyone necessarily by saying that, but I think there's something to that. Let's wait and see if the case should arise. Which it very well might. I've had some bad burgers. I'm by the way a burger boy. I love burgers.
You're a burger fiend. I may need you to train me.
Yeah, dude, I will teach you the ways, and I'm happy to accompany you on these trips and share my personal thoughts on some of these burgers. But it's very clear, like, you can go to a diner, like a little stand-up diner, and it's just like doesn't have a good burger. Just is what it is. Yeah. Right. And like you'll have to figure out, like, maybe there's a list of like the 10 burgers I wish did better. Like, 10 people who can like look themselves in the mirror or something and like try their best. But no, man, I think it's going to be. I'm excited for this year. What do you hope? Did you have particular aspirations or things you hope to learn or hope to achieve by the end of 2025 with the burger countdown? Any new ideas for how you might approach the countdown this year?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try a new format of videos. Like, I think that you're going to see a lot fewer voiceovers, and you're going to see a lot more like directly to camera. Like, I just think like, with something like this, I kind of want to, make it feel like people are coming along with me, right? Like, and I just think like when you do the voiceover, it's a cool, like, you know, mini documentary style view into like what that noodle is telling you, but you don't necessarily feel like you were there, right? And I feel like this year I really want to make people feel like they're coming along with me. So it's a stylistic thing that people are going to pick up on. More so than, like, you know this from our conversations, but one of my main like passions is like trying to figure out how to like create a new type of like food fandom, right? Like trying to like trying to create a new relationship of people to like their restaurants and like the food that they love. And I'm not exactly sure what that looks like here, but all I know is I know what it doesn't look like. I know it doesn't look like the guys in their cars who are just taking a bite of a burger and being like, this sauce is creamy daddy and this one is like, you know, just all right. And then they just throw out a rating that like you have no fucking basis for, right? I know it's not that, right? So I really want to be cautious of not doing that and figuring out a way where you can still give ratings, where you can still do these like videos, but make it more substantial, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, look, I wish you luck on your journey, man. We've been going for a while now. Anything I didn't ask you about that you wish I did?
How I am, like how I'm doing.
I don't care. No one cares about it.
Well, hey, I'd have to say, you know, you're the opposite of your shitty Yelp review is the fact that you did a pretty good job hosting this segment, my man.
There you go. Appreciate it, man. I don't envy you being in the host chair, I will say. I like talking nonsense more than trying to be reasonable and thoughtful.
And trying to steer the conversation in interesting ways, yeah.
Yeah.
It's my cross to bear. Well, Father Sal, thanks as always for joining us.
Take care, buddy. See you soon.
Happy New Year, bud. Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks as always to Father Sal for making the time to join us. If you like what you heard today, dear listener, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating, a review, subscribe. Seriously, all that stuff really helps us make our way up the charts on Apple and Spotify. We'll be back next week with another epic episode. But if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and even our website, the LA Countdown. That's TheLACOUNTDOWN. You can also find us on Instagram at LA Food Pod. That's LAFOODPOD.